evening, Keepers of the Cash. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and joining me just like every single Thursday, we have my good buddy Digger Jim. Jim, what's up, sir?
I don't know. I don't know what channel I'm on. I didn't see that video play. Daggone it! I'm so mad. I was supposed to be dancing. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
It didn't play for you? Wow.
It said my browser said nope, it's not playing that video clip.
Nice. So for those of you watching, they changed a bunch of stuff on StreamYard. It took me a second even to find my video. And we had our poor guest waiting while I found that stuff. But the man of the hour tonight, the one we're all here to see, and we're going to see his books and hear his stories, none other than Rich Cap Collectibles. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. How you guys doing? I was fist pumping, Jim. I don't know, man. I had the video.
Yeah, I don't know. My browser acts weird sometimes, and I don't get everything, so I don't know.
Well, we're going to start like we always do. So what that is, Rich, is you're going to give the quick 2 minutes on who you are, what your channel's about. We'll go say hi to the crowd, and then we're going to come back to you and start you out with your first book.
Okay. So me in a nutshell, Comic Cap Collectibles. I primarily do cleaning and pressing videos on my channel. I do dabble in a little bit of everything else. Obviously, there's some unboxings on there, some speculation on there, but for the most part, it's cleaning and pressing. That's what I enjoy doing, and believe it or not, that's what gets the most views when I make a video of that type of content.
People love cleaning and pressing. I just see the views that Jerry's videos gets, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
That's what I like to watch the most. And then I'm like wanting to ask you questions all the time. Like I'm like, I don't want to message him, overload him. So I just like, all right, I'm just going to keep it to myself.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry does like way crazier stuff than I do with the paper overlay. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
Just some really high end stuff. I never tried that, but I don't really have golden age books that are,
that can hold up to it.
Yeah. Either. But I enjoy it, like a lot of people during COVID, kind of bored, decided to make a YouTube channel. I think I was already pressing for about 6 months or so at that time. So I was like, you know what, I can make videos too. Started making videos. So
what got you into pressing?
Just comic book collecting, really. I had a couple submissions probably to CGC back in like 2018. Not many. I had, 6 books the first time, like 2 the second. And you get the grades back and sometimes you're bummed, and I'm like, damn it. So I decided to start just pressing. I mean, heat presses aren't expensive. You can get a decent heat press for like $130, and then you just got to get the supplies, the other stuff, which is small stuff. And you just got to know what you're doing. And, for me, like I learned a lot watching Jerry's early videos. I mean, that's really, and then, you start
he's a great resource.
Yeah. You start watching other people's stuff, and you just kind of learn different tips and tricks that kind of help you along the way. And there's a lot of crazy guys out there that do some amazing stuff. So
I didn't know if maybe you didn't have like a local presser and you just kind of wanted to do it yourself, because I'm lucky. I got a few local pressers here, but I use one guy exclusively now.
I do have somebody that's local, but I don't want to say his name because I'm going to knock him a little bit. I've seen his work and I wasn't super impressed. So I was like, I could do this. And everybody has their own method, so I don't want to knock what he does. But a lot of guys like to try the cold press technique, when you take the book out of the press and you put it under like a piece of glass or something to let it cool down. And I'm not a fan of it because it never really works. I always feel the book reverts back a little bit. So I just decided to start doing it, and started making videos of it. During COVID when I was in the house bored. But I've been collecting. God, man, from 1983, 84, somewhere around there, and stopped for a few years. Got stopped completely, but stopped aggressively collecting.
Right.
And then got back into it probably 2018 when my son was like 8. It was like, hey, Dad, what's in all these boxes? And then it kind of, got me
bloomed again
in the head. Yep.
I'm gonna guess, much like Jim and I, that you're a Bronze Age guy.
Yeah, bronze, silver. I do like a lot of Silver Age stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't. It was before my time, but it was always like you read a book and you look back and there's that expensive Silver Age book on the wall you couldn't afford as a kid. So yeah.
And now it's called the even more expensive Silver Age book.
Yep. Should have bought it back then.
Our crowd here, and then we'll get back to you. We have James in first. Good evening, Las Cruces. Great to see you. We have Brad Wellbore. Good evening, Brad. Thank you for joining us. We have One Shot Comics. Nicholas, great to see you, sir. We have Joe, one of my favorite people there, Erotic Comics. Great to see you, Joe. We got Rich saying hi to everybody. We have another one of my all-time favorite people right there, Jerry the Jitterbug, who we were just speaking of. And we got some conversations going on. We have a local guy here that I got to meet up with soon, Zach's Collectibles, Zach's Collections. Zach's a great guy, fun guy to watch too. So if you haven't checked out Zach's channel, please go check him out. We have Dirty Collection from Augusta, Georgia. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. All right, and then I've been cooking for about 15 months. Nice. Well, it's a fun hobby, but there's always more to collect when you're.
Yeah, it's a big rabbit hole.
But so we're gonna bring it back over to you now. As people are joining us and getting their alerts, I'm just gonna give them a quick tip of the hat, and maybe we'll highlight them. But let's get back to you. So first, this is your first time on, so thank you for coming on. Was it difficult picking out your 12 books?
A little bit. I was on Only Slabs twice, and I have, I don't know, maybe like 300 slabs, and when you got to try to narrow it down to like your 20 or your 25 most, it's tough. But the top 12 was a little bit easier because you kind of know what your big books are or books that you just want to show are. So it's actually a tiny bit easier, but it's still always a struggle.
Yeah. Right, and this isn't a top 10. This is just 10 favorites, one with an extra story and a spec pick. And they don't have to be slabbed. They're any way you bring them to us.
Yeah.
All right, so I got to move these around a little bit because I did the one once in front. I was going to cheat.
Yeah, we'll let you jump right into it.
I'll start with
if there's one that you really want to show, there is the Joe clause that you can just show more than 10. I showed 50 on mine. I was like, I don't even care. I'm showing all these.
It's called either going the full Joe or the Travato clause. You can call it either one.
Yeah, on Only Slabs was supposed to be 20 to 25. I stretched it to 33.
Nice.
I got yelled at because I was trying to speed through them because I didn't tell them the exact number. But the first book is Hulk 271.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Right on.
This is first Rocket in continuity, and it's signed by Bob Sharon, who's a colorist who's actually holds the record for the most pages colored in comic books.
Wow!
And he's a local guy, so he's always at cons that are in New Jersey. That's where I'm from. Super Jersey Comic Expo. He's there every single time. I ran into him in other places, and it's funny after seeing him, 3-4 times. He like, hey, how you doing? He actually recognized me. So I probably have about 15 books that are signed by him, but this one's cool, man. And getting back into collecting when this was like a $5 book, and then Guardians movie came out, and it became relevant. I had to get it signed and get it slabbed.
What's funny, I sold one of those last year because I got it, I read it, I slabbed it, and then I sold it.
Yep. So that's book number 1.
It's interesting that the colorist and the letter never get any love. It's
always, the letters really don't get any love. Yeah, but but remember that comment, Jim.
Right.
So we're gonna get into that. So this book I bought off the newsstand, I guess back in 1991 when I was a teenager, and had it banged around in boxes for 30 years, and was one of my the first submission I ever sent in.
Oh, nice.
So New Mutants 98, first Deadpool, and being a naive collector at the time with grading, I thought it was a contender. I was like, oh, this is a 9.8. This is going to be a money book. But I was happy with a 9.0.
Yeah, 9.0 is respectable for the age, and you didn't know what you were doing back then. You were just,
And probably 80% of my books weren't even boarded. Obviously, I bagged them, but I didn't board everything. So this one wasn't even boarded. So it, held up pretty good considering. And it's never been.
And everybody was reading New Mutants when that came out.
Yeah.
And as soon as Rob Liefeld got on it, everybody was reading it because it was just something different.
Yeah, it went from being like a non-relevant mutant story to being exciting again, probably in the late 70s, and then it turned right into X-Force. And I never cleaned or pressed that book too. That was before I got the press, like I said. So one of these days I might get brave and pop that sucker open and give it a go, but we'll see.
No, I didn't bag or board. They didn't exist when I was a kid. Yeah. When Joe was a kid, they made comics by pressing two rocks together with imprint.
Yeah.
So, as a kid, man, bags weren't that expensive, but the backer boards were. So if you bought backer boards, that was like buying, like, I don't know, 10 books off the spinner rack. So it's like, do I get 10 books or do I get backer boards? So you always went with the books instead of
more reading, right?
Right.
And when you're a kid, you don't know about grading and all that. I mean, I'm sure our kids might because they see us do it now, but it wasn't really a thing when we were young.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is backer boards are probably close to the same price they were 40 years ago.
Right.
So, all right. So this one, this was a gift.
Oh, nice.
This is 87. This has got two signatures on it. We got a Rob Liefeld up top here, and we got a Stanley over here. So, and somebody I work with was asking me because he was a little bit into comics too, like what's on your radar, blah blah blah. And I said, I wanted to get this book because I only have the gold copy, the second print, and I really wanted to have the first print. Not thinking anything, him and all the managers chipped in together and bought this for me as a Christmas present.
How nice!
Just as is, man. It was probably one of the biggest wow gifts I ever got. I remember opening it and I was so shocked it was even a slab. I didn't even realize it was a gold label, and then it just got better because then I realized who it was signed by, and I was like, oh my god,
especially now having a Stanley Sig as Prime.
Yeah, well, this they probably got this for me 2021, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So Stanley was gone already.
Right. That's a big money book.
Yeah, I'd never part with that book ever.
Yeah, another one of those that gets homaged a lot with the head bubbles and stuff.
Yeah, I just saw one recently that they did that was almost identical.
Now, did you like the last movie?
I loved it, man.
I had a great time.
It lacked a little story, but it just from start to finish, it was action packed and it was cool.
Yeah.
All right, so my next one is a twofer, and you'll understand why when I show them up. So I got a Avengers 57 and a West Coast.
Oh, 48. Nice. Yep.
45,
first Vision and first White Vision.
So just wanted to show them next to each other.
And it's funny too because before that series, that White Vision book was $1 book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
nobody wanted that. You couldn't get people to buy West Coast Avengers.
Right. I know I saw that in the dollar bins before that show.
I'm one of these guys that'll say it, and I'll say it with pride. When I was a kid, I liked the West Coast Avengers story way better than the Avengers. And this was one of my go-to read books. So this is the same thing. I had this since the day it came out. So
right.
8.5.
Hey, West Coast Avengers got my vote because they had Tigra.
They just had a better team, man. It was just better story writing than the Avengers at that time. I'm not saying as a whole, but at that time.
Right.
So it was way better. And then this one, I got this probably like a year ago, and I've been wanting to get it. It got a little pricey during COVID. Started getting back to realistic numbers, so I pulled the trigger and got it. And I wanted to get it at least at a decent grade. I didn't want to like a 2.0 that was beat up because it's a weird colored cover. So if you get a low grade, it looks bad. But
it is a striking cover. Like it's such an iconic pose, and just the coloring on it makes it pop. And
yeah,
I'm not a grade snob, so 5.5 would be just fine.
Well, Silver Age, I'm not. I'll take the book. All right, so this one is this one's crazy because I got to tell the story behind this one. So this is 41 ASM 41.
There you go.
This is the first Rhino. It's a 1.0, right?
Right.
So I was at Super Jersey, I guess a year and a half ago now, and the guy had this on the wall raw for $85. So I was like, can I see that? And he hands it to me. He's like, it's really bad. The cover's split. I could probably do like 60. So I'm like, this guy crazy? So I was like, you mind if I open it? Because, I don't like opening silver books like that. So he's like, yeah, sure. I opened it, and it literally covers, and it's in 2 pieces. It's got some chips out of it.
Right.
The whole corner's missing over here. But it was all there. Like,
yeah, it was complete. Right?
It was complete.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll give you $40. And he hemmed and hawed. He's like, all right. And I almost felt guilty when he said yes. I was like, holy crap. I thought he was going to counter me, but he didn't. He took it. So I brought it home. I gave it a light press because this was a super brittle book. I didn't even want to clean it because you touch it, it felt like it wanted to crack.
Right.
And it came back a 1.0. I thought it was going to be a 0.5, to be honest with you, because it was just that bad. So even at a 1.0, it's like a $200 book. So happy to snag that. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every book that's in my collection that I got at a crazy deal or I bought at newsstand. I have the first Morbius up on my wall.
Yeah.
I bought it at the peak.
Oof.
It's a 2.5.
Oof.
And what I paid for it right now, I can get like a 6.0 or better.
Yeah.
So you win some, you lose some.
And this guy here, Marcus, you're 2 books too late. He is a huge West Coast Avengers.
Yeah. I was on his stream once and I brought it up and we had a little conversation about it. So
yeah, you missed it, Marcus. You got to be on time, son. You got all day. That's because he lives on the Midwest where it's
Marcus
not real time.
Popped on. I'll show it again.
Don't cater to him. You gotta learn.
And there's some great covers in that run, though.
There really is.
That one. There's a lot of great covers in that run.
Yeah, there really is. I you know what? When we went to Pittsburgh, I picked up a whole stack of them. I was like, dollar bin, baby, and they weren't in bad shape. I was like, man, this is gonna be. I'm gonna clean this.
And that's
run
the thing
out.
now. Like even those now aren't dollar books anymore. Now, like when I put my Dazzler run together, and even Conan, I was paying 50 cents a book near mint, and now just a filler book is $5 to $10.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't get Conan cheap like that anymore. You just can't.
Dazzlers are hard to find.
Yeah.
I'm trying to complete that run too, and they're not worth anything, but you just don't find them. Like every now and then I'll find a few and I'll grab them, but they're.
Luckily, I didn't have any problems finding them. I had the whole run. It got water damage, and I had to get it all over again.
That sucks. All right, next book. Awesome book. This is Captain America 117.
Ooh.
Oh man, that's on my list.
Cover.
That's on my list. First Falcon. Yes, sir.
First Falcon. So, with Marvel and Stan Lee always trying to break down boundaries before society does.
Right.
This is a very, very important book where, you got a black superhero who a year later they named the book Captain America and Falcon, and he went on to be a mainstay.
What year was that?
This was 69.
And I always loved this costume. It was just so different. It was cool.
Yeah.
And now we're probably going to see Torres in his old costume. That's going to be green. So we'll see. So that's.
You think so? Awesome. That would be sweet, though, wouldn't it?
Well, if you remember in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he had the broken suit.
Yeah.
And he was like done. And he's like,
right.
What do you want me to do with it? He's like, keep it. And he walked out. And then a couple of days later, Winter Soldier dropped him off one from Black Panther.
Right.
And how good has Anthony Mackie been as the Falcon? Just amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
And the chemistry between him and Sebastian Stan is so great.
I'm gonna rewatch that
on screen together. It's just fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that before the Thunderbolts. I think
so many people kind of, I don't want to say they bashed it, but they didn't really like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I loved it. I was
completely
enthralled. And then that episode when they did the blood on the shield, I was like, holy shit, they did it.
Yeah. The blood on the shield. And, at first, you get John Walker and you come in, you're like, this guy's terrible. I can't stand him. And then he turns bad and then you start to hate him. And then he turns back good and you love him again. And the Isaiah Bradley story that ties in. I mean, I thought it was fantastic, but not everybody.
One of the baddest ass moments in that, and I loved it so much, but was when John's starting to really lose it and he goes crazy, and they had that fight with Dora Milaje in the apartment.
Yeah.
And they take apart Bucky's arm in like 2 seconds, and he's completely shocked. You could do that? And then they just completely whoop his ass, John Walker's ass. And you just see him go crazy. But, you know, he thinks he's this badass. And Adora Milaje just embarrass him.
Yep.
Like, have a seat, you.
All right. So my next book, I believe Digger Jim has my old book.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which I'll be showing as soon, because when you're gonna ask me what I'm doing, I just got my C3 package, so I'll be making a video.
So I had a 3.0 copy of this book that I was happy with, and I knew Rob had the 6.0. Rob's like, oh, you know, I gotta upgrade my 100 because all my other books are 8.0 or 8.5 or higher, and I want to make sure they're all high grade. So I messaged him. I'm like, if you ever do that, let me know. I might be interested. Not knowing the offer he was going to give me was he was going to take my book, auction it off for Comics Curing Cancer, and we would just split the difference on what fair market value was. So I paid the difference in fair market value for the 3.0 to the 6.0. Mm-hmm. He got my 3.0, which now Jim has, and I got the 6.0. So
nice. What a great deal.
Yeah.
There were two books that I was going for. That one, actually, Iron Man was the one I wanted, the Iron Man 1. And I was like, all right, that didn't happen. I'm going to get that next one, no matter what.
Man, you're lucky Ben Parker wasn't in there to get those from you.
He was in Italy or something, I think. So
because Ben Parker would have scooped those. He's a big Avengers collector.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the Spider-Man 121, the Death of Gwen Stacy. I was trying hard for that one. And then I was also trying hard for the Secret Wars 8. That was triple signed, because I have a one behind me that's single signed by John Beatty, but it's a 4.5. So that one was like a 7.0 or 7.5 or something, but I didn't get it. And I don't want to upgrade mine because it's signed. I'll only upgrade it if, you know, it's better. It's better, not. So speak of the devil.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'm just gonna have to come to your house and pull that out. Jesus, look at that. And this looks so clean too, man. It really does.
Yeah.
Like the colors pop and everything. I mean, I get it. Everything has a spine tick. I don't care. As long as I don't have like some big giant X going through it, or, you know, it's just beautiful.
It's got that little chip in the top corner there.
I didn't even notice it until you pointed it out. I'm so busy looking at
the back cover's pretty dirty, and I tried cleaning this too, but it's like soiled and stained pretty bad.
That's all right. I mean, you got the book, so
yeah. I bought it raw, so I got it graded. I kind of knew what it was when I sent it in, but I'm happy with a 4.0. 4.0, you know, that book's not cheap at any grade.
No.
All right, so
it is a great book, though.
This is another one of those books that shot up during COVID that luckily I waited for it to come back to reality before I pulled the trigger on it. The only thing I hate about it is the old slab. So
see, that doesn't bother me that much. I get it. It's
the faded 5.0 bothers me. If it wasn't for the slab, I wouldn't care. But that faded 5.0 just drives me insane. Especially when it's on my wall.
I got one of their old slabs too with a Tomb Raider book in it, and I'm not gonna send it back in.
Yeah,
it's got a green label because it was signed, and it's got a remark on it, which is a beautiful remark. But there's something about the novelty of having like the original slab. I'll never like turn it in and get it redone.
Well, I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful copy. Man,
I don't know if I ever will either, but I as I sit here, I say I'm going to at some point, but who knows.
Right, just that faded 5.0 is bugging you, huh?
Yeah, because like I said, when it's on the wall and it's got all the other books next to it, and they have the bold color, and then you got the faded 5.0. It's like, what is that? Sun damaged? But that's just the way they made them back then.
Yeah.
So, but if I do it, I'm gonna make sure I wait and get a custom label or something, so there's a little bit of an upgrade to it.
Nice.
And if I'm going too fast, I'm gonna have to go dig in my box or pull some more off my wall.
I know. I was just gonna mention that too. I'm like, man, Rich is cruising.
I mean, I got tons of stuff I could show.
Like maybe you have an super extended personal story for your 11th. Who knows?
Just invoke the Travado clause and go for it.
All right. So this book, you know, it pays to have friends in the community because if it wasn't for them working out a payment plan with me, I would have never owned this book. So Joe from 360 Comics on Instagram.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I've been buying from him probably since the beginning of the pandemic, right? Because you couldn't go to stores and people started doing these live sales, and I got hooked and was like on every show. So over the years, it's the second time I think I did a payment plan with him, but the biggest. ASM 129.
Oh, nice.
First appearance of Jackal.
Man, again, look how clean it looks.
It does. I mean, your yellows look good. Everything on that.
And so, what do you think makes it a 5.0?
I don't know, man, because this is a really nice looking book. Like even the back, there's no stains.
It's got to be the interior.
Do you think
yeah, there's like 2-3 color breaking ticks I could see. There's no like fold marks in it that I could see.
I feel like sometimes those graders have bad days, and they just said, "Nope, that's a 5.0." I really do. I've seen some amazing grades, and I'm just like, "That's crazy. That's such a great book."
I think Brian LCS did the choose your mood, your grader's mood ring. I need to send it back and change the mood ring.
Yeah.
So this is one of the biggest books in my collection, I would say. You know, from a value standpoint, not from like a personal value. All right, so this book, this next book I bought raw, and I originally had it signed by Andrew Garfield, the second Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
So, but as you can see, now it has 5 signatures on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it makes that quite pricey.
Yeah. So obviously Andrew Garfield was the first. Then it's got Bob Sharon, McKelney, Jim Salicrup, Rick Parker, who is the letterer, Jim.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
And somebody else. I'm sorry, I'm missing somebody.
You gonna try to get the other 2 Spider-Men? You gonna try to get
T. McFarlane on there?
Nope.
Nope.
Don't want it. So I you know, speaking to Bob Sharon all the time, and just from stuff you hear over the years, Todd ripped him off, man. He hired him for some work and never paid him. So you know,
Todd you gonna go for Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland on there too?
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. If they would do it, I might actually pull the trigger on that.
What made you go? I'm just curious. We got a few minutes because you're going at speed.
Yeah.
What made you go with that his signature? Was it an opportunity thing, or
it was? So he was doing a signing event at CGC. I had the book raw, and I'm like, all right, if you're gonna spend, you know, it's a pricey signature. If you're gonna spend that money to get a book signed, it's got to be something of value. You can't send like a $20 book to get a $200 signature on it.
Sure.
So I had this book raw. I sent it in. I knew it wasn't a 9.8 or anything like that. I kind of thought it was like a 6.0, 6.5. So I was pretty psyched when it came back to 7.0. And then I was nervous when I sent it back the second time to get some of the other ones that it still came back to 7.0 because it doesn't always work out that way.
Right. No, it doesn't.
But it did. Yeah. So it kept the grade and it's got the 5 signatures. So
sure.
And you know, all transparency, you know, my son does collect too. So this was his book. His book, I should say. And when I told him about the Andrew Garfield, that's our favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I know it might not be the popular opinion, but you know,
he was a great Spider-Man. He had the quips down right. Yeah. You know, he was a little too suave for a Peter Parker.
Yep. And you know, I would have been super excited if they rolled into the MCU and they continued it with Andrew Garfield at the time.
Right.
And I like Tom Holland. I appreciate everything he did, but I really did enjoy Garfield.
Well, you know what I'd like to see though is I'd like to see an adult Peter Parker. I don't think we need to keep seeing a teenage Peter Parker anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But give us an adult married to MJ Peter Parker. He's teaching at university. His Spider-Man gigs getting him in trouble with his teaching and
yeah. Well, you know, I watched it's not a short. It's probably like a good 20-minute video maybe where you know, I'll watch those ones where actors will talk about the different movies they've done, and they had Andrew Garfield on and he was doing his different movies he had done, and Spider-Man No Way Home came up, and he said, when they asked me to come and play Spider-Man in it, I was like, yeah, right on, let's do this. And he had all this, energy, and he's like, oh, I can still do this. And he went and tried to do this stunt, pulled his back like the first week. And he's like, okay, maybe, and they had to like set him out for like a week and a half to get him straight. And he said the thing about it was the director started thinking about it. He's like, they're not young guys. Tobey Maguire is not a young guy. So they were like, we're going to incorporate this. Because remember when he's like cracking Tobey Maguire's back and they're talking about all the ailments and stuff? He's like, that was because my dumbass thought I could still do what I did 10 years ago or whatever it was. Yeah. And I thought that was interesting. I love hearing stories like that from those guys.
And your body lets you know when you try something you did when you were younger.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I just like Andrew Garfield anyway. But, yeah, I would have loved to have seen him go in. Just like you.
And I like all three of the Spider-Man actors. I like them all for different reasons.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's things I don't like about them all for different reasons, too, in portrayals. None of which I think is their fault. I think it's all writing.
Yeah.
Right. So, like with Tobey Maguire, emo Pete's not his fault. That's writing.
Yeah.
He just played what he was given.
But it's such a memed moment, and it's historic, and you see these memes with the dancing. I mean, it's just epic. It was so cringe at the time, but now when you see it, it's funny.
Yeah.
They have a whole channel dedicated to Bully Parker. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I love the what are you gonna do cry one.
Yeah.
Cry.
It's funny,
We're off track.
When it came out, we were all like, "What the hell did they do? Like, this is terrible." And now here we are, what, 20 years later.
And then I was so mad that they put Venom in it, and they had all these not because it's Venom. Everyone knows I'm not a big Venom fan, but if you're gonna put Venom in, and they haven't got him right in any movie yet, you gotta put a big guy in that lifts weights just like Eddie Brock did in the comics.
Yep.
They keep putting these like beanpole people in as Eddie Brock or with a light voice. It's like, no, Eddie Brock was like, when you read him as gruff.
Yeah.
And he was physically imposing too.
Yeah.
But I was so mad because I kept waiting for any of these Spider-Man movies to put the Black Cat in, and they haven't.
Yep. One day, I think we'll get the Black Cat. Maybe we'll even get like Silver Sable too. I don't know.
I want Silver Sable really bad. She's one of my favorites so much.
Silver Sable could do her own show. That would be awesome.
Before you guys came on, this is what I was reading.
Nice.
Because I'm going through all 35 issues and just having a blast.
Yeah, she could do her own show.
All right. You want me to do the 1/1 piece, or do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead. Do whatever.
All right.
I mean, we're at 33. We'll try to get it to the 45-minute mark.
I can go all night, man. I got stuff to always have stuff to show. So, Jim, we talked about letterers, and somebody I work with came up one day and he's like, "Is there anybody that wants to buy comic books?" And I was like, I looked over at him. I'm like, "Is this a joke? Like, somebody put this up to you?" I'm like, he's like, "No, why?" I'm like, "No, I collect." He's like, "Oh, I didn't know." He's like, my father-in-law has all these books. He wants to get rid of them, but I don't know what they're worth, this, that, and the other thing. So I'm like, "Oh, what, how does he have them? Was he a collector?" He goes, "No, he used to work for DC."
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So I'm like, "Oh, really? That's cool." I'm thinking he worked in like the mailroom or something.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So I'm like, "Oh, let me know what you want for him." He's like, "Oh, I was thinking like $200 a box." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna give you $200 a box, man, if I don't like know what's in them."
Right. Not gonna do it blind.
Right. So kind of ended the conversation. Didn't really think much of it. And then a few months later, we started talking about it again. He goes, "Oh yeah, he was a letterer. He did all the words for DC Comics." And I'm like, "He did what?" And I was like, "He lives with you?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What's his name?" So Albert de Guzman.
Mm-hmm.
He did lettering for DC from like 78 to like 2000.
Wow.
He was a journeyman, huh?
Yeah.
Like for long time. So as soon as I heard that, like I went home, I'm like, I got some books that he did. I don't have a lot of DC books. I'm not a big DC guy. So I dug out 4 books. I found them. I texted him. I say, dude, you think there's any way he could sign these for me? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. I'll ask him. Blah, blah, blah. So he like lit up because he's been out of it for, 20 something years. So he signed 4 books for me. First, this one, Tales of Teen Titans.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
This is the first appearance of the heck was her name? Jinx?
Yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
The girl that was in the last season. Yeah, Jinx.
Yeah.
So that's his signature there, Albert de Guzman. And he's never signed books for anybody.
Really?
Well, that's what I was going to say. You probably got the only ones on the census,
only one on the census. So there's that one. I got a Birds of Prey #1.
Ooh. Oh, my brother
here's
would
the crazy
super
part.
jelly of that.
I got 2 of these, and one came back like a 5.0, and I knew it wasn't going to be a high grade because it had like staining on the back. I didn't think it was going to come back that low. I actually sold it. I'm kind of bummed that I did, so I could say I'm the only person that has his signature.
Yeah.
But he signed that one for me. And then #8 also.
Wow.
Which is the famous Nightwing and Barbara Gordon kiss.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
So
no. So is he still alive?
That is cool.
So that's the next part. Like 6 months later, he passed away.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I was very sad for, was excited.
Did you buy any books off of him? I mean, did you end up?
The crazy thing is the guy texted me like a month or so ago, and he still has most of them. And I said, I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna pay you top dollar if I'm not going through them, but if you want to work something out, let me know. So I think he thinks that they're worth a ton. And a lot of them probably aren't. There's probably a few keys in there that are big, but somebody's got to put the time in to go through all that. And
it's a run filler, I'm assuming, right? A lot of them are just run fillers.
Yeah. And I was over his house, and I saw most of them, and I didn't see anything significant. But and he collected too. Like, so he didn't just get the books he did. Which, by the way, any book he did, he automatically got 3 copies of it mailed to his house.
Right. Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was a standard back then, right?
But now you got to think about it this way too, Rich. He may have died 6 months ago, but you asking for his autograph probably gave him a highlight. You gave him a highlight that he hadn't had before.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, so he collected everything, and he had Marvel books in there. Got a little bit of everything, even a lot of indies. And then he got a copy of the Wonder Woman. It was the George Perez omnibus. He got 3 copies of it. He literally signed one for me and gave it to me when I was there. And it has a price on the back of like $129 or something like that.
Yeah, the omnibus, that's a standard.
Yeah. And he signed the cover inside of the cover for me because it has the wrap around the shield.
Yeah.
So I have that in there as well. I'm not a Wonder Woman fan, but I was like, wow, thank you, because he got 3 of them in the mail, literally like a couple of days before I was there. So
Magic Lasso, man. Magic Lasso working. He'd be the only one that would want it that had the guy's name on it. He'd be like,
Wonder Woman's a great character. I'm not a big DC guy either. Wonder Woman's one of the ones I've always liked. Barbara Gordon, Batgirl is my favorite, although I like Cassandra Cain too.
Yeah.
What is everyone's obsession, DC people, with Zatanna? Everybody knows that's a DC.
Zatanna's a great character. I love Zatanna. Yeah. She's another one. Zatanna, Power Girl. Come on, it's cool. I mean, she looks different than all the other heroes. Plus, she's got magic. It's like the same. It's like the Doctor Strange effect, right?
Yeah.
And she's dressed like a Playboy bunny most of the time. So.
Well, just with the stockings, but
right.
But I mean, the Huntress has stockings too.
True.
But there's something about I like magic characters. Like I'm a big fan of Clea too from Marvel, and also Doctor Strange. There's something because they're an anomaly, right? Because you take other characters that don't have weaknesses, and everybody seems to be weak to magic, so they're automatically have something against just about any other character that's out there. There you go, DVH. She's hot and she does magic, not rocket science.
Look at John. John's already sucking up to you. Go back down to the bottom when they're. Look, I'm also hunting the first Perez Wonder Woman omnibus for Xmas is coming.
Oh, jeez.
So my other part of the 1-1 is, I'm fortunate that I still own this. This is the first comic book I've ever owned in my entire life, and it's still in my possession to this day. And I know not a lot of people could say that.
Nice.
It's not an important issue, first appearance of Black Fox or something, but it's been with me since 1984.
I like the Black Fox. He's an underrated character.
Water damage on the back.
Water damage. Spilled his Kool-Aid on it or something.
It's got a hole punch in it. It is.
What were you doing?
Dude, I could tell you honestly that I remember this comic not bagged or boarded, thrown in my toy box when I was like 9 years old.
Yeah.
Banged around with toys. So I'm actually shocked that it's in as good a shape as it is.
Yeah, it's not even that it's still complete, right?
But that is the first comic book I ever bought. And it's been with me since. And I was a big Spider-Man guy. And I remember when I saw this, I'm like, wait, why does he have a black suit? Because I wasn't reading. And so I was like, I think I gave up my candy money to buy this instead. And then I got hooked.
Says it's so cool you still have it.
Yeah.
It is.
I can't even remember the first book I bought.
I got hooked and I bought like the Spectacular Spider-Man. It was like 94 or something, and a couple other ones. And then the game was over for me with comics when I found out there were Star Wars comic books because I was a big Star Wars fan. And I went to like a flea market and had back issues of all these Star Wars comic books. And I was just like, I had to be there every weekend to keep just grabbing random Star Wars.
Whittling away at it, huh?
And that kind of got me just sucked in altogether. And I pretty much just read Marvel and Star Wars. Even when Star Wars went to Dark Horse, I still continued to read Star Wars because I enjoyed it. And Dark Horse probably did it better than Marvel did in that first volume.
Now, like reading those old Spideys too, like late 80s, early 90s, man. I was reading Amazing, which I loved, but I thought I was so mad because nobody collected Spectacular and Web, and I thought they were just as good as Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't these get loved? The stories in Web and Spectacular, I loved them because I was collecting all 3 titles at the time.
Yeah, Spec was always good. Web had its moments. Sometimes it was cheesy. Sometimes it was good. It was hot and cold, but Spec was always.
I still loved it.
Yeah. So that is my 1-1. I mean, I could show you guys a couple more books if you like. I can go over to the wall, pull them off. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Wait, what was your Spec book?
That was
I didn't have a Spec
that was
book.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, everything that he showed tonight was pretty much Spec worthy.
True.
Yeah, he was
that Jackal book, man. That's total
first
Spec.
Jackal.
You know that Jackal's coming sometime. He's gonna be in a movie for sure.
Now, out of the books you showed, though, which one were you most floored to own at some point? Where you're like, I can't believe this is in my hands now.
Probably the 129, the first Jackal.
Yeah.
See, mine is no surprise. Mine was Conan 1, which isn't an expensive book as far as comic books go. But as a kid, you don't ever think you're going to own it. Yeah. So when I grew up and I bought it, I couldn't believe I'm like, oh, it's so good to be an adult.
So, and then the Amazing Spider-Man 129, it was always cool, and it was kind of like that aura around it because they've used it in movies before.
Right.
Like Coyote Ugly. He sold it as collateral to help her with her rent, and
right.
So it's always like, oh,
yeah, that's why you were watching that movie for the comic. Yeah, okay, we got it.
Well, it was also most of it was filmed in South Amboy, New Jersey, and I grew up in Sayreville, which was the town over at the time. So of course I wanted to see it for that too. So.
Right, it was always cool when you saw comics and movies. You're like, oh, kind of, because before all this stuff, it kind of validated it for you a little bit. Like when you saw him in True Lies, True Romance.
Mm-hmm.
And like when he's in, I was like, oh yeah, they're in a comic shop. This is cool.
Yep.
Did you see? Did you guys see The Accountant?
I own it. I haven't watched it yet with Ben Affleck.
I did.
There's like a scene where he's like in his getaway trailer, and the girl he goes to open a drawer, and the first drawer has like cash, but it's like from all over the world, you know. So he has it all lined up,
different currencies.
And he opens up the next one, and it's got like gold bars, and then oh crap, the Superman book, you know, like Action 1 or something, you know, and somebody gave him that as payment for one of his jobs. Nice. And I thought, look at that, he took a comic book. That's sweet.
I remember watching that. It was a pretty good movie. Wasn't he like autistic or something?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. His character's actually coming out with the 2. They're making a second one.
I got to watch it because I'm one of those guys that thinks Ben Affleck's a really good actor, and people just like to hate on him.
I think he's a good actor. I just didn't like him as Batman. I don't think it was.
I actually loved him as Batman.
Yeah, I
thought Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck were the only 2 people that could play Bruce Wayne and Batman both. All the other actors, they're either good as Bruce Wayne or good as Batman, but not good as both.
Christian Bale's my favorite. Sorry.
Oof, he's not even close to my favorite. He was a horrible Batman. In my opinion, I'm not trying to shit on him on your fandom.
No, I get it.
His voice was just too cartoony. It took me out.
You're right. Some of the acting was a little like cringy.
Yeah.
But I guess because the stories were the best. They were the best.
Stories were amazing.
The stories are really good.
Why?
Yeah, if it wasn't for that voice he went with, I probably would have liked him a lot better as Batman, you know?
Yeah, like I said, it was just the movies were phenomenal. So,
you know what I was surprised about in those movies? One, I was actually one of the people that was on the Heath Ledger bus because I thought he was a great actor, and everyone just wanted to go to that one movie and shit on him.
He did it. He did a phenomenal job.
That dude was a solid actor. I had seen him in a bunch of shit, so I was so glad to see him get his roses for playing the Joker. But you know who surprised me in those 3 movies was Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I thought she was. I know a lot of people probably didn't like her, but that was the person I thought she was really good as Catwoman.
Yeah, she did okay, especially for the time it was filmed.
And I'm not a big Anne Hathaway fan, and I just I thought she knocked it out of the park though. I thought she was fantastic. Bane, Again, what's with Tom Hardy with weird voices? Like his Venom voice is terrible. His Bane voice was terrible.
His regular voice is pretty deep and raspy to begin with, though. So
yeah, I don't think it. I mean, like, is that really? I mean, like, they do something to that voice when he does Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not. I mean, it's all. They augment it somehow.
I like Tom Hardy, man. He did this show. It was called.
Oh, I like him too as an actor and a person. He's pretty decent, but
Taboo. It was called. It was like it was a show on some weird channel, and they had made 1 season, and they were supposed to make a second, and they never did. But it was phenomenal. It was like a dark 50s London vibe type thing, some magic and stuff going on, and he got out of prison. But it was 10 years ago it came out.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, because him just in general, I'm a fan of.
Yeah,
just those 2 parts. Just but you have those with every actor.
Yep.
Nice. So before we close out, what would be your guilty pleasure character that you'd like to see a movie or TV series get made out of that we haven't seen yet?
It wouldn't even have to be a movie or a TV series. It would just be a cameo and maybe some type of introduction, or maybe a cameo in a movie and then a TV series. Alpha Flight was always my book.
Ooh, oh, yeah. Nice.
That was my team book. So I would love to see some type of Alpha Flight live tie-in, and then maybe do a Disney Plus show of it or something. I think that would be awesome because there's a lot of great characters in there.
I was thinking about them too. I'm like, if Ryan Reynolds wants to do something different, he's Canadian. Why doesn't he just back an Alpha Flight movie and get that going?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Vindicator, and I have no idea who could play Puck.
Now, who's your favorite member of the team?
Yeah, I actually liked I don't know if I'm gonna get the name right. It was one of the Jeffries, the one that was the box robot. Not Madison. There was 3 of them. Madison, Jeffries.
Yeah. So you like the robot?
I did, because he was almost like Iron Man. You know what I mean? He had this box robot that he could basically do whatever he wanted. and make it stretch, make it big, make it fly, make it, it was like a transformer.
Yeah.
So it was a cool character. Because the original box robot was boring. It was just a guy in a robot suit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the brother took over, he took it to a whole nother level where it became a pretty epic character. But then there was a lot of other small ones in there, like Goblin, where it was the twins, and they both can't be on Earth at the same time, and they teleport. So Goblin's here, and then the girl isn't, and she can open up portals and stuff. So she was a cool character too.
Wow, see, that's a run I never read.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would like to see a ROM movie. Because I'm a huge ROM fan.
I would like to see a ROM, something with ROM too, because ROM was a cool character, and in the 80s, he was kind of an important book that was going on, I thought.
Right. Well, and then you had the race were in X-Men, and
yeah.
Just they were on their covers. ROM was on that famous Avenger issue, and his picture was on there with all the other ones.
Oh yeah, as a possible Avenger,
right?
And when they were doing recruitment, I saw that and was like, "Rom's going to be recruited." I don't think that one's going to play out. But
it was that whole series, beginning to end, was so well written because it was all written by Bill Mantlo. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, I don't have many of them, but I have, I think, like, I don't know, maybe like 10 issues. I think I have like 1, 4, and a couple of stragglers.
When I started collecting again, that was one of the very first series I bought completely. Another series I put together for 50 cents a book, except for the first book, I paid $10.
Mm-hmm.
All the other books, 50 cents to a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of runs like that with Marvel that they only rent 25, 50 books. Like, I'm trying to finish the Miss Marvel Volume 1. Unfortunately, there's a couple keys and minor keys in
That's
that
what
run.
I'm trying to finish too. I got the keys, now I just need the fillers. But even the fillers now are $10 to $12 a piece.
Yep. I have obviously the first Mystique. I was tempted to show that one tonight. I don't have the second cameo of Mystique. I have the Deathbird. I have one. I have 1 through 12, but I'm missing like a couple from 12 to 25.
I have the Mystique, luckily, but it's got like a little chip out of the top right hand corner, and I don't even care.
Yeah.
This one, I am a huge Jessica Drew fan. So when I told you I couldn't believe I owned the Conan book, the other book I couldn't, 2 other books I couldn't, and again, these are affordable keys, right? Miss Marvel 1, because I'm a huge Carol Danvers fan. ASM 194, I have it in a 3.0, but everyone knows how big a Black Cat fan I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other book was Spider-Woman 1 and Marvel Spotlight 32. And, and the way I got 32 was thanks to the community. So I ended up. Yeah, right. Jim knows the story. And I ended up with this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 2, which had the first, what's her name? The first April O'Neil. You might be on to something, John.
Hey. Boobies make the world go round, John.
But where was I? John said boobies. I'm lost.
So here's what happened, Rich. I can tell the story.
Okay, go ahead.
This Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book, number 2, the first April O'Neil, that he didn't really care about, but he knew it had value. So we're in this chat together. It's called the Lucky VIP Lounge. So he goes, "Hey guys, I'm willing to put this up if you guys will do a raffle." One of the guys in the chat is "quote unquote" an expert raffle guy.
Yeah, man, I got comics. Eric's amazing.
Eric from Man, I Got Comics. So we all put in like $25 or whatever to buy this book. I put it in it, and I didn't even want the damn thing because I knew what he was doing with it. He wanted to buy this book, which was a slabbed 8.0 Marvel Spotlight for Spider-Woman. Of course, I didn't win, thank God, because I didn't want it. And Gary got to get his book. Hoorah!
Yeah. And Alan May won. And then I ended up with 2 more. For some reason, that book kept finding me. Like the books I want don't find me, right? Books that other people like find me. And then I have to trade them for keys. I ended up with 3 more copies of that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Alan May ended up with the other 3 copies as well.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. He bought 2 of them, and I just gave. I'm like, all right, you've gotten 3 of these from me so far. Here's the 4th. Just take it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
like my collection is full of books from the community that the community either helped me get in some way, shape, or form, or just set me out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And it
amazing,
makes
man.
a difference. I
Yep.
mean, it's one thing to get a book you've always wanted, but to get a book you've always wanted and have it attached to the community just makes it so much more special. You know, that Marvel Spotlight 32 will always be special because I can't pick that book up without thinking about everybody in the VIP lounge and what they did for me that night. They literally ran this raffle. The raffle was done in under an hour. I called the comic shop, said, "Don't." I'm like, "Do you still have it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'll be right there."
Wow.
And I was literally there in like 7 minutes and bought it. I had it that same day. It was nuts.
That's cool.
But I mean, I've had like Joe and Matt Woods come down. That's how I got my Savage Tales issue 1. Just I've gotten so many cool foreign copies, like from Torsen over in Austria, who sent me I got an Italian Conan #1 to go in my American Conan 1.
That's cool.
And it's always amazing. And in any of these books that I got from the community, and not only that, just community art, like CJ, Izzy was in earlier, 23 Munch, all these people have drawn stuff, Shop for Comics, and sent it to me, like with characters that I love, and just out of the kindness of their hearts. It's just, I got so much amazing art just from people in the community. It's like just amazing what happens.
Yeah. Izzy did an X-Men book for me because I pressed a bunch of books for him, and he surprised me with it, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And I was trying to think, like, how can I send it in to get slabbed? Do I do it as art? He's like, "You want it slabbed?" He's like, "Give it back to me. I'll do it for you, no charge." I'm like, "Really?" So it's a yellow label.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's the only X-Men character that I would want. Well, that's the second. I'd like a Polaris.
I was gonna say, is it Polaris?
No,
it's Havoc.
It's Havoc, and and I loved how he did it. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I have it right behind me. I could grab it.
Yeah,
go ahead, show it up.
Show that one, man. That one's.
See, I'm a huge Polaris fan. That's one I want to get at some point.
I just think that Izzy. Cover. I mean, Izzy does a really. I haven't seen him do a bad cover. I have not seen Izzy do a bad cover. I mean, look at that.
Oh, that is a great habit.
Kind of actually mixed a little bit of Polaris's crackle in there with it.
That's fantastic.
I think it got the 8.0 because I think he didn't put like a sheet under the cover when he was using the watercolors, and it probably dripped onto the color under it, and they probably knocked it for that. But I don't even care because I was going to send it to CBCS just for an art slab.
Right.
So it's
it's
yellow.
I mean, he did a great job coloring that too.
Yeah, fantastic. Like every single inch of this cover has almost got color on it. Like even over the Marvel logo on the top corner.
Yeah, when they have when they had C3, that was another slab I went for, and I got it's coming, it's on its way. It's cool. It's his Batman.
Oh, you got the Batman 9.8.
The Terry McGinnis Batman.
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. Yeah, he did a Batman Beyond, and I said, that's really nice. I'm going to go for that.
I didn't know you
can remember Terry McGinnis, but you can't remember Beyond. Now I know you're old.
I tried for quite a few things, man. I'm bummed. I think the only thing I won was a signed print of it's Joe Rubenstein.
So the one thing,
Joe Rubenstein. That's so important to comics too.
There was a lot of that, and I was like, wow, I can't believe how much I saw of that. But
I think it was I won it for like $25 or something too, which was crazy.
It wasn't that expensive, but it was good that they were able to sell those. The one thing that I did, that like when he showed that Warlock that he had inked, and I was like, yeah, he wants this. Like, he wants to keep it. Mm-hmm. So when I won it, I was like, okay, I hope you enjoy your book. I just spent a lot of money on it. He's like, what? I was like, you don't need to ship that. I don't even want it. I wanted you to have it because I could see it in his face. Like,
classic Jim.
He did not want that book to go out. And I was like, just keep it, bro.
Oh, really? You won it, paid for it, and let him keep it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Cool. I was like, yeah. I mean, it's not that I didn't want it. It's just he needed it more. Like he wanted it more.
Warlock
it was cool,
is his favorite character for sure.
But it's his favorite character, and I knew he would like it, so I'm glad that I was able to do it and he get it. Because honestly, I didn't know who else was going to bid against me.
All right, so Jim, what's coming up for you, sir?
You know what? I told my wife that she has to give me some time to go digging, so there will be some digging going on, and I'm going to try a new platform where maybe I dig up a coin or something, and I can get a date on it. I'll be like, and what I'm thinking about doing, which is going to take longer, is because I'm suck at editing, is popping up like after I show the coin, pop up a book and say, a book will appear and say, in 1978, you could have purchased this Marvel blah 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 or this DC blah blah blah. I think that
this quarter.
Yeah, this quarter. But then I'm going to actually do a C3 video, part 2. I'll probably be doing a 3-parter because I've still got stuff coming from Izzy. So yeah, that'll be on the horizon.
Nice. All right, coming up from me, we have the Adventures Joe on for the first time next Tuesday.
Oh wow!
And then Jim, we're taking Halloween off so you and I can go scare children with our faces. So we're off next Thursday, but then we'll be back strong the week after.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, I'm gonna be at the dentist that day, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be in the mood
right
to do a show.
Rich, what's coming up for you, sir?
Me, I do at least one cleaning and pressing video every week, so that's my main thing. Just try to keep at it, and then I typically try to. I'm on Mad Spidey's Outback Saturday nights. I try to hang with those guys. Those guys are always a good time. And then whatever streams I can kind of jump on here and there. Tony from the Commieverse, I try to jump on his show often. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And Gary, what state are you in? Are you a New Jersey guy also, or?
No, I'm a New Jersey Devils fan, but I'm in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
He's on the edge of the world.
Where's Cliff? Isn't Cliff up that way somewhere?
I think he's like in between. I think Cliff's between Rochester and the city.
I was like, is he in PA or?
No, he's in New York. He's in New York, and I thought he was a city guy like Izzy, but he's not.
I think he's between Rochester and New York. Whatever's in between there is where.
I'm surprised I haven't met up with him at some point then and just bullshitted.
Yeah, you guys probably aren't too far away.
Yeah, no, because I went to PA and I got to see Milt, and that was great. Because Milt's a great dude.
Yep. So.
Then got to hang out with the princess for lunch with the kid and stuff, and that was fun. And I've met quite a few people. Of course, I've talked about them all the time. I've met Joe and Matt Woods.
Look, Cliff's in Hudson, New York.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Joe's met up with Cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met up with Cliff a couple times too. He was at a couple cons.
Pazukskipski.
There we go. Izzy's got it now. Yep.
He's in Pogaskaki.
We got Hudson and Poughkeepsie. It's going to be one of them. But no, thank you to the audience that was here tonight. We appreciate you guys coming out to support Rich. Please go sub them up. And while you're at it, go sub up Jim as well. Their links are in the description below. And, of course, I want to thank Jim, as always, for being my wingman. Thank you, Jim. Always appreciate it and always good to see you, buddy.
Absolutely.
And of course, our first-time guest, Rich. Hopefully, you'll come back for another show.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. And we got, we got some fun stuff coming up in November. We have Mark Andrews is going to do all GI Joe show. We have Flash by night. TJ is going to do a Transformers show. So we got some fun stuff coming up. We're still rescheduling. And right now it's tentative for November 14th. I just got to get Cliff to co-host. But he gave John's Comics with Kids and Chuck Hensey, he gave them different eras and different cues about movies, and they're going to come on and have like a movie off because we've done a DVD and movie version with them. We've done board game versions. We've done card versions of the Tim and One. We did Wonder Woman a couple days ago. Yeah. I like doing the theme ones. They're fun. I like doing the regular ones, but I like peppering in something different along the way. Right. And of course, Flowers Comics, Milt has an idea for something. He's keeping it under wraps for now. Nice. And as soon as we can get a time where we can both be on together, we're going to do that. But again, thank you to everyone. Really had a great time. Rich, thank you so much. Everyone in the audience, everyone watching on the rewind, make sure you're all subbed up. And as we like to end these things, keep it casual.